for a few people to get in here and see what happens. All right. Today, the question is, so you want to get into a leather crafting business? If so, you want to ask yourself some questions. What do I want to make? What leather do I need to make this? What tools do I need? My suggestion is you think long and hard what you want to make. Do you want to make wallets? Do you want to make belts? Do you want to make card holders? Do you want to make custom work? If you make a card holder, do you want to tool it, or you just want to make it a plain Jane? That's some of the things you want to kind of figure out what you want to do. My suggestion is don't go out and buy a whole bunch of tools, because you won't need probably half of them. You'll need a couple of good sharp knives, a ruler, a good compass, a couple pens or pencils. Skip the pens. Use pencils. You can erase the lines. The knives, you can go to any hardware store, Harbor Freight, wherever you buy your hardware tools at, hammers, stuff like that. Just go in there and get yourself a utility knife or some of these knives that you can break the blades off and when they get dull. But the biggest thing is you want to figure out what you want to make and how fancy and what leather you want to use to make it. I mean, there's all kinds of leather. Biggest thing is figure out what weight you want to use. You want to use a 3/4, 5 or 6 ounce. Depending on what you're going to make, you're going to determine the thickness of your leather. Now, color. I myself, I've been doing this for a little over 14 years, and I find that black does not sell. Browns, you can make all sorts of stuff out of browns. I mean, there's different shades of browns. Veggie tan, you can get it already colored. If you want to go the extra steps and dye it yourself, you can do that. But if you're going to do it as a business, you want to kind of stay away from the dyeing end of it. You want to get your leather already dyed. It makes more sense. It's quicker, it's easier, and it's one less step. Because remember, time is money. You can only charge so much, or you're going to drive yourself out of the market. Now, again, you got to know what you want to make and what you want to sell. Then, after you make the product, you got to figure out what to charge. And after you figure out what you need to charge, now you got to find a place to sell it. You can sell eBay. There's several places out there. You can use Facebook Marketplace. Just have to figure out which one you want to sell on. If you want to sell on all of them, it's great. But remember, every place that you list your stuff, you got to maintain an inventory. I would stay away from selling on Amazon because they are real sticky. Everything has to be exactly the same. You can't have one stitch pattern on one and another stitch on design a stitch on another. That's another thing. You got to figure out if you want to hand stitch it or if you want to use a sewing machine. These are all things you've got to think about. When I started out hand stitching everything. And then as I started selling, I put some money aside. I bought a used sewing machine. Used that for, I think I used that one for about 2 years, 3 years. And then I bought a bigger one and used that one. And then I've always bought used machines, and I've had good luck with them. That's something you got to think of. If you want to hand stitch them, or you want to use a machine. Depends on how fancy you want to get, and how. But I would not go into debt too far, because if something, God forbid, happens and you can't make a go of it, it's easier to sell a few tools than it is to sell a lot of tools. But, just think long and serious on what you want to do, what you want to make, how far you want to go into it to start out. You can probably get into it for $400 or $500. Now, when it comes to purchasing your leather, you can go to Weaver, Tandy. I can name a whole bunch of places, but you got to figure out who's got the best for your buck. There are some places that have what they call mill run. They may have a brand, fly bites. It may not be perfect leather. Depending on what you're going to make, you might think about going and doing that. Using, if you're going to make, we'll say, card holders or wallets, you can get bellies cheap, and they work just as good. But you got to remember, you can't use bellies for making belts because the belly stretches. And you don't want a belt that stretches because they'll bring them back to you. And if you do it right and you know what you're cutting and how you're cutting it, you can get away with a piece of leather that's got a couple scars in it here and there. You just cut around it. I mean, I use leather that's got scars in it, and I use it for belts until I get to where the scar is at, and then I just cut around it, or I take a straight edge, give myself a straight edge on the side, and just keep cutting. Now, a strap cutter, that's something else. If you're going to make belts, strap cutters are handy, even for small stuff. If you're making wallets and you put little straps with a snap on it, a small one of those wooden strap cutters that you get from Tandy, that's a handy item to have. Straight edge is something handy to have. Cutting stuff freehand and trying to make a straight line when you're cutting with leather. Now, you can do it, but if you're paying high dollar for leather, you want to make sure you're using everything that you can. There's a lot of things you got to think of. You build your business as you sell stuff. Now, when it comes to making stuff, what I started out doing is if I made, we'll say, card holders. I made 2 card holders. I listed them I started out selling on eBay. When one sold, I had a backup. When I sold 2 of them, Then I moved on and built two more or three more. I built it, like I said, when I started, I built them as I needed them until I knew that it was an item that was going to sell pretty fast and pretty quick. And then I focused on doing that. Now, when I make something, if I make a gun holster, I cut out three or four and build them. And I got enough room, I can hang them on the wall. And as I sell them, if I sell one, I make two. If I sell two, I make three. I like to keep a halfway decent inventory because sometimes you do get a little bit busier and you need to concentrate on that. So again, these are all things you got to think of. When it comes to how much, what I did, I kind of cheated. I went on eBay and I looked up, like, say, gun holsters, and I just got an overall general idea of what everybody else is getting, and I sold them at that price, or a couple cents less. Belts, same way. See what everybody's getting. I used to go to flea markets and stuff like that, see what they were getting there. And naturally, the flea market, they're going to get, for like a $25 belt, they're going to get 35 because it's, they got to pay for their spaces and stuff like that. But as long as you stay competitive, you can make money. That's the name of the game. You try and buy your leather as cheap as possible. Don't get too fancy. You're gonna make money. Now, like I say, it's taken me, 13, 14 years, and I've got a pretty good business build up. When I started out, I made a purse for my wife and made a belt and some other stuff for other friends and relatives. And that's how I got my start, building for friends and family, Christmas gifts and stuff like that. And now, I'm doing pretty good. And at the time I was working two jobs. I was doing construction work and coming home at night or on weekends and making leather products. And then things got going, and I think I quit work for somebody else 4 or 5 years ago because I picked up. I also, besides doing leather work, I picked up doing shoes. So I repaired shoes, boots, purses, and stuff like that. So this is a dual featured shop. We do leather work and we do shoe repair. And it's worked out. And daily or weekly, however you want to do it, look at it, things are getting better and better. Now with this unpleasantness that's bouncing around out there, things got a little slow. But if I didn't make anything in the leather shop, I had shoe repairs coming in, and vice versa. So, you don't quit your day job until you can find that you can make your leather crafting business pay for itself and give you a little bit of money you can take out of it. But again, think long and hard on what you want to make, how you're going to make it, what tools you need, and things will be all right. It's going to take a little bit of time, but build on it. Don't buy it. Don't go out and buy all that top dollar stuff. If you have to for a while, buy used. If you want to buy a used sewing machine, buy that. Excuse me. I've got two of them. Got one sitting here behind me. That one replaced a Chinese hand crank shoe patcher that I used for a long time. That's a harness machine. Works great. The only drawback is it doesn't have reverse. Now I've got a big Ferdinand Bull. That one's got reverse, and that one will sew through harness leather. And that machine's sitting over my shoulder. I use that sometimes for stitching up holsters. That's actually for doing shoe soles. So basically everything in my shop serves a dual purpose. But it's taken me a while to get there. But, it's fun. I enjoy what I do, meet a lot of people, and I get a chance to make a lot of cool things. One of the things I make is reproduction Civil War items. I make bridles, headstalls, halters, girths for Civil War reenactment. And I make Civil War style holsters. Basically, a lot of the leather stuff that they need for Civil War reenacting, I can make it. And I make horse tack. Like I say, I use a lot of brown. Black, the only thing I use black for is for Civil War items. But I make Civil War items for both sides of the street, for the Union and for the Confederacy. But I happen to find some patterns, and people would bring me whatever they had that was tore up, and I'd copy it. So, like I say, think about it, research it a little bit, just don't run into it and, blindly. And, I've even got my daughter, she takes the scraps that I make. We try not to waste anything. She takes the scraps and she turns it into jewelry and then brings it back and I sell it through the shop. So we're self-sufficient. We do what we can. We help as many people as we can. And we like a challenge. But when I started out, like I say, it was just a hobby. And a hobby turns into a business. So, realize you didn't see anybody jump in here, so I'm going to put this one to bed, but not to be a dead horse. But like I say, think about it, research it before you buy anything. Think long and hard. Do your research. Figure out what you're going to make, how you're going to make it, what tools you need to make it, what kind of leather you need to have to make it, and do you have room to make the stuff? I mean, I started out on a block of wood and a piece of granite countertop, and that's how I started out. And now I got a shop full of equipment. But all right, I'm going to get to work, make some money, have some fun, and hope I've given you some enlightenment from someone that's been there, done that. And I've got a couple t-shirts. So, all right. If you like what you heard, leave a comment down in the bottom, hit the bell. We try and put out a video once a week, twice if we got something that comes in that's interesting. And I think somebody, I want to show you how to build or do. So, again, thanks for stopping by Cowboy Leather and Shoe Repair. Hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell, do whatever. Have a good day. Be safe. And keep your cutting knives sharp. We're gone.